Hey guys, tonight we're heading into a realm where thunder and darkness collide. Picture it, a storm raging in the sky, dark clouds gathering in the horizon. Lightning crackles through the heavens, and the air feels electric force building. Inevitable. You're standing on the edge of this tempest, watching, feeling the tension coil in the air like a tightening bowstring. Yeah, you probably won't survive this one. Thor is ready. His hammer and Mjolnir rests heavily in his hand, the weight of it almost palpable. This isn't his first battle. He's been through many before, each victory confirming his strength, his place as a god of thunder. He's made it through giants, demons, and armies, and with each fight, his confidence has only grown. But this fight, this is different, across from him. The Midgard Serpent Jörmungandr coils like a living mountain in the ocean, its immense body cutting through the water like an unstoppable force. Its eyes, ancient and filled with venom, lock onto Thor. This isn't just any beast, it is a creature of chaos, a being of ancient hatred, born to bring doom to the gods. And in the Prophecy of Ragnarok, it's foretold that Thor will die by this serpent's venom. It's strange, isn't it? Even gods, with all their might, can be bound by fate. And so, standing there, you feel the weight of it to the inevitability. The storm, the battle, it's all leading to this moment. The prophecy says Thor will die by the venom of the serpent. But will he? Well, that's what you're about to find out. But don't be fooled. This isn't just some grand, dramatic fight where the victor is clear. No, it's a messy, brutal affair that will test Thor's resolve like never before. And while we're here, let's remind ourselves, Thor isn't just fighting for his life. This isn't just about survival, it's about the future of the cosmos itself. If he falls, so does the balance. This battle will set the stage for the end of the world, and as the storm rages on, you realize that like Thor, you too are about to be swept into something far beyond your control. You feel it. The tension builds. Your pulse quickens. The storm isn't just in the sky, it's in you now too. The air thickens with every passing moment, swirling with the certainty that something monumental is about to unfold. It's like the earth itself is holding its breath, awaiting what comes next. And it's not just Thor who feels the weight of this moment. The gods themselves have been watching, waiting for this exact clash. The prophecy is clear. Ragnarok, the end of the world, will begin with this very battle. Thor versus Jörmungandr. Historians still argue whether the prophecies of Ragnarok were true omens or merely poetic exaggerations. Some believe they were simply the ramblings of old seers, while others hold steadfast in the belief that everything the ancient texts predicted has been etched into the future, unavoidable and certain. And as you stand beside Thorif, you can even imagine standing beside a god. You begin to understand the heaviness of prophecy. It's not something you escape. It's a force that exists beyond choice. And it's coming for Thor now, before you. The vast sea churns with a monstrous energy, a tangible force that threatens to swallow everything. The Midgard Serpent, Jörmungandr, is no mere adversary. This is the creature that encircles the very world. With every turn, it presses against the fabric of existence itself, as if it's always been a part of the world's natural order and challenged undisturbed. Until now, and Thor, well, he's the god of thunder, a force of nature in his own right. Mjolnir, his hammer, is a symbol of his power, his strength to shape the world. You remember the tales of his great feats, of him battling giants and destroying armies, but those were just the warm-ups. This battle is different. It's personal, and it's written in the stars. Thor's very fate is bound to this serpent. The two have always been destined to clash. You can almost hear the echo of that ancient prophecy. Thor will die at the hands of the Midgard Serpent. The words hang in the air, a sentence yet to be fulfilled. But then again, is fate really as simple as prophecy? Does the future truly unfold as it is written? Or can it be changed, even by a god? But that doesn't matter now. What matters is the here and now. Thor grips Mjolnir tightly, his eyes locked onto the serpents. The time for thinking is over. The battle is about to begin. With a mighty roar, Jörmungandr rises from the depths, its enormous head breaking the surface of the water. It's a sight unlike anything you've ever witnessed, an ancient and terrifying force of nature. Its scales are like iron plates, gleaming in the dim light of the storm. You can almost feel the earth tremble beneath its weight, and then, with a sudden, swift motion, it strikes. Thor is too quick. He raises Mjolnir high, summoning the full power of the storm, and with a thunderous crack, lightning arcs through the sky. The hammer meets the serpent's scales with a deafening explosion, sending shockwaves across the sea. The world seems to pause for a moment, the tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. The serpent recoils, but is far from defeated. Jörmungandr's eyes burn with fury as it opens its enormous mouth, revealing fangs that could pierce through the strongest steel. The venom dripping from its teeth is an omen, a sign of what's to come. Thor isn't just fighting for victory, he's fighting for survival. There's a strange quiet before the storm within the storm. You stand on the precipice, feeling the weight of the universe pressing down, the world seeming to slow around you as the two titans face off. It's the calm before the inevitable. And then it happens. Thor charges, the wind roaring in his ears as he leaps into the fray. Mjolnir swings with the force of 1,000 storms. The sea is now a battlefield, a stage set for the gods, where thunder clashes against scales and fate collides with free will. And you, watching this impossible struggle, realize the true cost of this battle. Thor isn't just fighting for himself, he's fighting for all of creation. And if he loses, if the serpent prevails, there will be no world left to save. The battle is relentless. Thor moves with the fury of a storm, his body a blur of thunder and lightning. But Jörmungandr is no slouch. The serpent moves with an uncanny grace, its body undulating like the ocean itself, bending and twisting with a speed that defies its immense size. Its eyes gleam with malice, and every movement it makes sends a shiver through the very air around you. As Thor hurls Mjolnir again, the hammer's thunderous roar fills the sky. But Jörmungandr is ready, its scales flexing and hardening, absorbing the blows like an unyielding shield. The serpent may be a creature of chaos, but it is not just raw power. It's ancient, clever, and patient. For centuries, it has circled the world, waiting for this moment. The battle has begun, but the serpent knows that it doesn't need to win quickly, it just needs to outlast Thor. And that's where the real challenge lies for Thor. He's always relied on his brute strength. He's the god of thunder, but Jörmungandr doesn't need to be beaten in a single blow. It's not about a quick victory. It's about survival. It's about outlasting the god. Historians still argue whether this tactical brilliance of Jörmungandr was a part of its original design, or if it evolved over time, shaped by the dark magic that binds it to the earth. Some scholars believe that the serpent was crafted by the gods to be a counterbalance to Thor's power. After all, what is a god of thunder without something that can withstand his might? Perhaps Jörmungandr is the true embodiment of the world's chaos, a constant force that even Thor must reckon with. You feel the exhaustion creeping into Thor's movements now. Each swing of Mjolnir becomes slower, the energy needed to summon thunder and lightning taking its toll. He can feel it, the weariness, the creeping poison of Jörmungandr's venom in his veins. His once unshakable resolve falters. And that's when you realize Thor isn't just fighting the serpent. He's fighting time itself. The venom courses through his body, the world around him seeming to blur with every passing second. His vision darkens at the edges, but his grip on Mjolnir doesn't loosen. He forces himself to stay focused, to keep fighting, knowing that every moment is another step closer to victory or death. In this moment, you see Thor not as an invincible god, but as something far more human. He's not just battling a serpent, he's battling the inevitable. And as you watch him press on, you can't help but wonder if the gods, like all of us, are bound by their own limitations. For the first time, you're unsure whether Thor will win this battle. Jörmungandr senses the shift in Thor's energy. The serpent's movements become even more calculated, methodical. It strikes again, its massive head lunging toward Thor with terrifying speed. This time it's not just a bite tits, a calculated attack. Its fangs sink deep into Thor's side, and the venom flows faster than before. Thor lets out a primal roar, but it's not one of victory, it's a cry of pain, of desperation. You can see the poison spreading, the life draining from his limbs. Thor stumbles, his footing faltering. The fight isn't just a test of strength anymore, it's a test of endurance. Can Thor outlast the serpent, or will the venom overwhelm him before he can land the final blow? As the fight rages on, you can't help but think of what's at stake. If Thor falls, so does the balance of the world. This is no longer a fight for personal glory. It's a battle for the very fabric of reality itself. With every swing of Mjolnir, Thor is not just striking at the serpent. He's striking at the forces of chaos that threaten to undo everything. But in the face of this, Thor stands tall. His godly strength may be waning, but his resolve is unbroken. He fights not just for himself, but for all of Midgard, the world, of men, the gods, and everything in between. In this moment, you realize something powerful. Thor's true strength has always been in his heart, in his unyielding will to protect. The battle between the god of thunder and the serpent is far from over. The ocean roars, the sky rages, and Thor stands, battered but unbroken, knowing that the end is near one way or another. The serpent's venom is a slow killer, creeping through Thor's veins with an agonizing precision. Each breath feels heavier, as though the weight of the world itself is pressing down on his chest. Yet, in the face of his crumbling strength, Thor's grip on Mjolnir tightens, his resolve unwavering. The storm rages around him, matching the fury within him. It's as if the very heavens are torn between the forces of life and death, caught in the balance of this celestial struggle. Jörmungandr, though wounded, the serpent's fangs glint menacingly as it strikes again, its massive body coiling and uncoiling with terrifying speed. Thor staggers, his vision beginning to blur, but he manages to swing Mjolnir in a wide arc, sending lightning crackling through the sky. The air around him shudders with the force of the thunder, but it's not enough to stop the serpent's advance. The battle has become a deadly dance. Every strike Thor lands seems to be countered by the serpent's unyielding resilience. Every blow Thor delivers is met with the serpent's monstrous strength, its body twisting and contorting in ways that should be impossible for something so large. It's clear now that the Midgard Serpent was not only a physical challenge for Thor, but a mental one as well. Thor's mind races through the knowledge he's gathered over the centuries. He's fought countless enemies, but none quite like this. It's not just strength that he needs now. He needs cunning, strategy, and patience, qualities that he's not exactly known for. Thor is a warrior at his core, a god of action, not contemplation. But as he stands there, struggling against the venom coursing through his body, he realizes that this is a battle of more than just physical prowess. It's a battle of endurance, and it's a battle for time itself. Historians still debate the nature of Thor's relationship with time. Some argue that he was simply bound by the inevitable tides of fate foretold to face the serpent, doomed to fall at its fangs. Others insist that he was not just a puppet of fate, but an active participant in shaping his destiny. Was he truly doomed to die by Jörmungandr's venom, or was his death merely the consequence of his own hubris? It's a question that still lingers unanswered. The serpent seems to sense Thor's inner turmoil, its attack becoming more vicious. The Midgard Serpent's eyes gleam with malice as it strikes again, its massive head lunging toward Thor with incredible speed. This time, it's not just a simple bite, it's a full-on assault. A strike meant to finish the battle once and for all. But Thor is not finished yet. With a roar that seems to echo across the universe itself, Thor brings Mjolnir down with all the strength he can muster. The hammer strikes the serpent's skull with a resounding crack, sending a shockwave of energy rippling through the water. For a moment, everything seems to freeze. The world holds its breath, and then, in the next instant, the serpent recoils, its massive body writhing in agony. You can feel the weight of the moment in the air. This is it. The tide of battle has shifted, and for the first time, you see the serpent falter. It's not defeated, not yet, but it's wounded. The battle has become a war of attrition. The serpent's strength is waning. But so is Thor's. It's a race now, a race, to see who can outlast the other. But as Thor watches the serpent struggle, something shifts within him. He realizes that this battle isn't just about who's stronger. It's about who has the will to survive, who can hold on just a little longer. He's fought many battles in his life, but this one is different. It's not just about his own survival. It's about the survival of everything he holds, dear: the gods, the humans, the very fabric of the universe. With a final, desperate effort, Thor raises Mjolnir once again. This time, it's not just a strike, it's a last, all-consuming blast of energy, a massive bolt of lightning that tears through the sky, illuminating the entire battlefield. The force of the blow is so intense that it seems to shake the very foundations of reality itself. Jörmungandr lets out a final, deafening screech as the lightning strikes, and you can feel the earth tremble beneath you. The serpent's body goes rigid, its movements slowing as the energy surges through it. For a brief moment, everything is silent, the storm stills. The world holds its breath, and then the serpent falls. The battle is over. But as you look at Thor, his body sagging, his strength drained, you realize that this victory comes at a great cost. Thor may have defeated the Midgard Serpent, but the price is steep. The venom is still in his veins, slowly eating away at him. The victory is hollow, a temporary reprieve at best. And as you watch Thor stand there, battered but victorious, you understand the truth of the prophecy. The gods, even in their greatest triumphs, are not invincible. The end is inevitable. And in the shadow of this victory, you wonder, how much longer will the gods continue to fight against the tide of fate? The world around Thor is still. For a moment, it feels as if time itself has paused, the storm hanging in the air, the sea quiet, as if waiting to see what will happen next. The echo of the battle lingers, the crackle of thunder now faint in the distance. The serpent's massive body lies motionless, but the ocean continues to churn, as if the very earth itself refuses to accept the conclusion of the fight. Thor stands in the aftermath, the weight of his victory heavy on his shoulders. His chest heaves, each breath ragged, each movement slower than the last. The venom still courses through his veins, the poison not yet fully taking hold. But it's clear that it is not something that will simply disappear. His body, once strong and vibrant, now feels as though it's fading away, piece by piece. You can see it in his eyes. There's something different in the way he looks now. The god of thunder, once invincible, now seems mortal. His face, usually so full of confidence, is drawn with exhaustion, his expression a mixture of triumph and loss. It's as if the battle, though victorious, has cost him something irreparable. Historians still debate the full implications of this victory. Some see it as Thor's ultimate triumph, the final step in securing the fate of the gods and the world. Others argue that it's merely a temporary reprieve, brief moment of glory before the inevitable end. After all, if the prophecy says that Thor will die by the serpent's venom, does this battle change that? Does it matter that he defeated Jörmungandr if the venom still claims him? For Thor, the answer is unclear. The gods, it seems, are bound by their own destinies, their own fates. In some ways, it's as though they are merely players in a cosmic game, their actions predetermined by forces beyond their control. And yet Thor fights on. He's always fought on, Perhaps that's the true power of the gods, not that they can escape fate, but that they continue to fight against it, even when it seems hopeless. As Thor looks out over the battlefield, he knows that the world is changing. This victory, though significant, is just another chapter in the ongoing saga of Ragnarok. The serpent is dead, but the signs of the end of the world are still present. The storm is not over. The thunder still rumbles in the distance, a reminder that the gods cannot escape their fates. And yet, for a fleeting moment, Thor feels a sense of peace. He has faced the serpent, fought with all his might, and emerged victorious. The serpent may have been the harbinger of doom, but in this moment, Thor has proven that even the most ancient and powerful forces of chaos cannot defeat him. Not without a fight, but the peace is short-lived as the serpent's body sinks back into the ocean. The sea calms, and the storm begins to subside. The sun, hidden for so long behind the dark clouds, starts to break through. For a moment, everything is quiet, almost serene. You might even think that the battle is over, that the storm has passed and the gods have won. But you know better. In the distance, a low rumble echoes across the sea. The earth trembles beneath your feet. It's not over. The signs of Ragnarok are still here, lurking on the horizon, waiting to make their final move. Thor, despite his victory, knows this too. The storm may have passed, but the war is far from over. He has won this battle, but the real battle is yet to come. The gods are facing an enemy that is greater than any they have ever known, the end of everything. And Thor, standing alone on the battlefield, knows that this victory is nothing more than a brief spark of light in a world on the edge of darkness. Ragnarok is coming, and no matter how powerful the gods are, they cannot escape it. You can feel it in the air, the tension building once again. The storm is returning, and as you stand there with Thor, you realize that this battle was never just about the serpent. It was about something much greater. It was about the inevitable clash between order and chaos, life and death. It was about the gods fighting against the very forces of the universe itself. Thor, the god of thunder, may have survived the serpent's bite, but can he survive what comes next? The answer is uncertain. But as you watch Thor stand tall, his chest heaving with effort, you can't help but think that maybe, just maybe, the gods will fight until the very end, no matter what it costs them. The silence that follows is almost unbearable. The world, once alive with the violent clash of thunder and the ferocious slithering of Jörmungandr, now feels eerily still. Thor stands on the edge of the ocean, his chest rising and falling in labored breaths, a warrior. Yes, but now, perhaps something more. There is something profoundly human in the way his body trembles, the way his hand grips Mjolnir, as if even the great god of thunder himself is questioning his own strength. As the serpent sinks beneath the surface, Thor watches, his gaze unwavering. He knows this is no ordinary victory. It wasn't just about defeating the Midgard Serpent, it was about defying fate itself. But as he stands there, victorious and yet wounded, you can't help but wonder if it was all for nothing. The poison still courses through his veins, slowly working its way to his heart, and with each beat, it reminds him of the prophecy that one day, the serpent's venom will claim him. Historians still argue whether Thor's victory was truly a triumph. Some believe that it was a momentary blip in the grand scheme of Ragnarok, an event of little consequence in the face of the greater destruction to come. Others suggest that this battle, while brutal and taxing, was a necessary step in the struggle between the gods and the forces of chaos. Perhaps, they argue, Thor's victory gave the gods just enough time to prepare for what was coming next. But for Thor, the battle is not over, not yet, and he knows it. The storm clouds part, revealing a fractured sunlight's light, distant, waning, almost as if the sun itself is aware that something significant has happened. The earth, the sky, the very air seems to be holding its breath, waiting for something, but what? A sign, a clue. The next strike. A strange stillness fills the world, And in that silence, Thor becomes aware of something that wasn't there before: the weight of his own mortality. The serpent may have been defeated, but the venom remains. His strength may have been enough to overcome the beast, but can it withstand the poison that's creeping through his body, threatening to pull him into the depths of the underworld? Jörmungandr's death isn't the end of the world. It's just another step along the way. Thor's victory, as sweet as it may have been in the moment, is fleeting. His triumph is tempered by the knowledge that the world is still moving toward its end. But Thor, ever resolute, refuses to give in. Even now, weakened, he stands tall. His eyes remain fixed on the horizon, where the clouds of Ragnarok still loom. He knows the battle isn't over. He knows that the final confrontation is yet to come. In the distance, you hear a rumbleless sound that rises from the very bowels of the earth. It's not thunder, not yet. It's the sound of something far more ancient, far more powerful. It's the sound of the beginning of the end. Ragnarok is coming, and Thor knows that his fight, the fight that started here with the serpent, is not over. The gods, no matter how powerful, are not invincible. The weight of their own fates hangs over them like a dark cloud, and Thor, despite his strength and his victories, is not immune to it. As you stand with him, watching the storm clouds gather once more, you feel the tension in the air. It's palpable. The world feels on the verge of something monumental, something terrifying. The gods may have been able to stave off their fates for a time, but now the forces of chaos are rising, and there's nothing left to stop them. Thor's victory over Jörmungandr, while glorious, was only a temporary reprieve. The Midgard Serpent may have been slain, but in its wake, something worse is coming. Thor may have held his own in the face of the serpent, but will he be able to face what follows? The answer, as always, lies in the heart of the storm, and Thor, with Mjolnir in hand, stands ready to face it. But the question lingers: can the gods ever truly escape their fates, or are they doomed to fight, time and time again, against the inevitable? You feel the weight of that question, pressing down on you like a heavy stone. And as you watch Thor, you wonder if, in the end, the battle will ever truly be won. If there is a victory, what will it look like? What does it mean for the gods to win when the very universe they fight for is crumbling around them? And as you stand there, side by side with the god of thunder, you realize that you're not just watching history unfold. You're living it. You're feeling every moment of it, just as the gods do. The battle for survival has only just begun. The storm isn't over, not by a long shot. The wind howls like a wild animal. The sea roars in rage, and the sky above Thor grows darker once more, as though the very heavens are weeping for the fate that is yet to come. Despite his victory over the serpent, the air crackles with anticipation, charged with an energy that you can feel deep in your bones. It's almost as if the earth itself is alive, aware of the impending cataclysm, and there is no escaping it now. Thor, standing tall yet weakened, feels the weight of that same awareness pressing down on him. Every step he takes seems to require more effort, and the venom continues its slow, insidious spread through his body. His once mighty chest, rising and falling with a rhythmic, thunderous pulse, now seems fragile. His godly stamina, once limitless, now has its limits. Mjolnir, the hammer he has carried for eons, feels heavier with every passing moment, as though it too senses the inevitable. There's a strange stillness in the air as Thor pauses for a moment, his thoughts fleeting. He stares out at the horizon, watching as the storm gathers once again. His mind, once so resolute, begins to reflect on the long path that has led him here. How many enemies had he vanquished? How many battles had he fought, knowing that his strength was supreme? For the first time, Thor is faced with a truth that he can't escape. His power, once thought invincible, is fading. Historians still debate the nature of Thor's vulnerability in the face of fate. Some claim that this moment, the moment when he faces his own mortality, is part of his ultimate hero's journey. Others suggest that this struggle represents the inherent flaw in all gods. No matter how powerful, they too are part of the fabric of fate, destined to fall like the rest of the cosmos. But one thing is certain, this battle was not just a clash between two beings, it was a clash of ideologies, of the very nature of existence itself. As you stand beside Thor, feeling the weight of his exhaustion, you wonder if he too has begun to question his place in this cosmic drama. Has he always been destined to fight? Always destined to win battles? Only to find himself in another one. Another war for the survival of the gods and the world. But Thor is no stranger to adversity, and even as the venom courses through him, weakening his every movement, you see the fire still burn in his eyes. There is something in him that refuses to give up. He is, after all, the god of thunder, the defender of Asgard, the protector of Midgard. He is a warrior, not just in body, but in spirit. The sky above cracks open again, thunder shaking the world. The wind picks up, howling in fury, as if responding to Thor's inner turmoil. It's as though the storm itself is alive, reflecting the chaos within him. And then something changes. There, on the horizon, you see it. A massive figure emerging from the storm, dark and ominous against the backdrop of the swirling clouds. It's a figure you recognize, an other force of nature, another god. The shadow of Loki looms large, and with it a sense of foreboding. Thor's estranged brother, mischievous, treacherous, and unpredictable, has arrived. His presence sends a ripple through the air, a silent challenge to Thor's already worn resolve. You can feel the tension between the two gods, their history like a weight between them, a storm that has never truly subsided. Loki, the trickster, the god of mischief, stands on the edge of the storm, watching Thor with eyes full of schemes and secrets. For a moment, there is silence. Neither god speaks. They simply stare at one another, the weight of years of conflict hanging between them. It's hard to know what's going through Thor's mind. Is it anger, resentment, or perhaps something else? Perhaps the knowledge that even his own brother has turned against him in this moment of crisis. Loki's presence is a reminder of the constant chaos that surrounds the gods. Thor may have defeated Jörmungandr, but can he ever truly win? He defeats not just his enemies, but his own blood. Loki, a being of chaos, represents everything Thor stands against. And yet, here he is, at the edge of the storm, ready to plunge them both into something even darker. Historians often debate the nature of Loki's role in the events of Ragnarok. Was he truly an ally to the gods, or was he always the puppet master, pulling the strings from the shadows? In some versions of the story, Loki is depicted as an agent of chaos, a being who incites destruction in order to watch the world burn. In others, he is portrayed as a tragic figure, driven by envy and frustration, seeking revenge for perceived slights. As you watch this reunion of sorts between Thor and Loki, you can't help but feel the weight of their shared history. This isn't just a battle between a god and a serpent. It's a battle of ideologies, of brothers torn apart by their differences. Loki, the master of mischief, has always been a wild card in the gods' grand scheme. And now, with the storm at its peak and Ragnarok approaching, Thor faces not just an external threat, but the threat of betrayal from within his own family. You feel the storm intensify as Thor and Loki stand there, facing each other across the chasm of their differences. The thunder rolls, the wind howls, and the world seems to hold its breath, as if awaiting the next move in a battle that will determine the fate of everything. The tension between Thor and Loki is almost tangible, a crackling force in the air that makes the storm feel like a mere whisper in comparison. You can feel the weight of their shared history, the battles fought both on the battlefield and in the shadows of their family. Loki's eyes, glinting with mischief and a hint of something darker, fixate on Thor. His stance is casual, But there's something about it, something in the way he stands that tells you he's not here to play games. This is no longer the playful trickster that Thor once called a brother. This is a god on the brink of his own purpose, a force to be reckoned with. Thor's grip tightens around Mjolnir, but even as his hammer crackles with energy, there's a momentary hesitation. Loki, the god of mischief, the one who has always toyed with the gods and their fates, now stands before him, not as an adversary in some distant conflict, but as a present immediate threat. The serpent may be dead, but now Thor faces something, perhaps even more dangerous, the betrayal of his own kin. And in this moment, Thor realizes that the line between family and enemy has blurred beyond recognition. You can almost feel the weight of that realization on Thor's shoulders. And it isn't just the venom from the serpent that's dragging him down. No, it's the knowledge that Loki's chaos, his unpredictable nature, has the potential to tear apart everything Thor has fought for. After all, Loki is the one who has sown chaos in Asgard time and time again. He's the one who tricked the gods into fighting the giants, the one who orchestrated the events that led to the fall of many. But Loki is also a god of intellect, and in this moment, he knows something Thor doesn't. As much as Thor stands as the god of thunder, the protector of Midgard, Loki's mind works in ways that even Thor can't fully comprehend. Loki has always been the wild card, the one whose motives are never clear, whose allegiances shift like the tides of the ocean. And as Thor stands there, facing him, he knows that the fight ahead won't be won by brute strength alone. Loki tilts his head, his lips curling into a wry smile. Do you really think you've won, brother? His voice is smooth, mocking, like the calm before a storm. You've slain the serpent, sure, but did you really think that would stop what's coming next? Thor's jaw tightens, and you can see the frustration in his eyes. He has been through so much, countless battles, monstrous creatures, even the gods themselves, but this is different. This is Loki, the one who knows Thor better than anyone, the one who understands the cracks in his armor. For a moment, Thor hesitates, and it's in that brief pause that the full weight of their relationship becomes clear. Thor and Loki have always been tied together, linked by blood and rivalry, bound by the same destiny. And in this moment, it feels as if that connection is all that stands between them and the end of everything. Stop with your tricks, Loki, Thor grunts, his voice heavy with the weariness of the battle. You think you can sow chaos in this moment, and it will all be over. You're wrong. This world is stronger than your tricks, your games. You can't stop the storm coming. You can't stop Ragnarok. Loki's smile fades for just a moment, but then it returns, darker than before. I don't need to stop Ragnarok, Thor. I don't need to stop anything. It's already set in motion, brother. You're too late. His voice drops to a whisper, the words laced with malice and a kind of inevitability that sends a chill through you. This battle, this moment, is nothing compared to what's coming. What's coming is your reckoning. The air around them grows colder, the storm more intense, the thunder louder, as if the very sky itself is reacting to the truth of Loki's words. Thor's heart, already heavy with the burden of his battle, now feels even more strained. He knows what Loki means. The serpent may be dead, but that doesn't mean the forces of chaos are gone. The battle between the gods and the world-ending forces of Ragnarok is only just beginning. Loki's words are like a hammer to the chest, and Thor knows they hold a terrifying truth. Thor knows the battle with Jörmungandr wasn't just his final trial, it was only a piece of a larger puzzle, a puzzle that includes Loki's dark designs. The serpent was merely a part of the cosmic game that Loki had been playing, an offering of chaos that would ultimately lead to greater destruction. Loki's presence now is a reminder of just how far-reaching his influence is. Historians still argue over Loki's true motivations. Was he merely trying to tear down the gods from the inside? Or was he attempting to accelerate the inevitable destruction of the universe itself? Some say Loki was driven by jealousy and resentment. Others believe that, deep down, he sought redemption, in his own twisted way. But in this moment, it's clear that whatever Loki's true purpose is, it's far more dangerous than anything Thor could have ever imagined. And as you stand there, watching this tense standoff between the two gods, you realize that the fate of the entire cosmos hangs in the balance. Thor may have won his battle, but the war is far from over. Loki's chaos is far from done. The storm rages, the thunder cracks, and the weight of the coming darkness presses down on both gods. For Thor, this battle with Loki may just be the beginning of something far more terrifying than anything he's ever faced before. And you can't help but wonder, can Thor ever truly defeat his own blood? Or will Loki be the one to bring about the end of all things? The air around them feels charged with something dark, something inevitable. The storm continues to build, twisting and turning, as if it too recognizes the momentous nature of this encounter. Thor stands facing Loki, his body battered and weakened, but his spirit is anything but broken. His eyes, though weary, still burn with the fire of defiance. He's been through countless battles, and yet, standing before his brother, the trickster, the betrayer, this battle feels like the most personal one he's ever fought. Loki's presence is like a shadow cast over Thor, a reminder of all the chaos Loki has sowed throughout their lives. Every plot, every betrayal, every twist of fate that Loki has pulled on the gods has led to this moment. And here they are, once again, caught in the unending cycle of their rivalry. Thor may have defeated Jörmungandr, but this feels like something deeper, more insidious. Why do you always think you know what's best, Thor? Loki sneers, his voice dripping with venom. Yet there's a touch of sadness in it too, a kind of twisted yearning. You think you've saved this world. You think your victory over the serpent is the end of it. You're a fool. Thor's grip on Mjolnir tightens, his knuckles white. And what would you have me do, Loki? Bow to your chaos? Let you bring the world down in flames, just because it amuses you? No, I will protect it. I will protect them. Loki lets out a hollow laugh, one that echoes through the storm. Protect them. You can barely protect yourself. Don't you see, Thor? The end is already written. The serpent was just the beginning. All you've done is delay the inevitable. And Loki, pauses for dramatic effect, his eyes gleaming with an unsettling satisfaction. I am the architect of that end. I am the one who will tear everything apart. There's a bitterness in Loki's words, an almost tangible resentment. He's not just speaking about the battle with Jörmungandr, or even Ragnarok. This is about something older, something deeper. This is about the very foundation of their relationship, of their differences. Thor is the defender, the protector, the god of thunder. Loki is the god of mischief, chaos, and, as he has proven time and time again, betrayal. They are two sides of the same coin, one built on strength, the other on cunning. But tonight, in the midst of the chaos, it feels like they're not just fighting for survival, they're fighting for the very essence of their identities. As the storm rages around them, Thor's mind races. His strength is fading, but his will remains firm. Loki's words, his taunts, they mean something to Thor, more than he wants to admit. Loki has always been a mirror to Thor's own nature, a reflection of everything Thor has rejected about himself. Loki's chaos is the antithesis of Thor's order. But Thor has always believed that order and discipline are what saved the world. Now, standing before his brother, Thor wonders if it's chaos like Loki's that might hold the key to surviving what's coming. And yet, even as these thoughts churn in his mind, Thor feels the weight of his responsibility. The world is on the brink of destruction. As much as he loathes Loki for his treachery, there's a truth Thor cannot deny. Without the gods, without their strength, there would be nothing left to fight for. Midgard, Asgard, the entire cosmos, it all hangs in the balance, and Thor, despite everything, is the only one standing between it and the collapse. Thor's voice is low, determined. I've fought too long to let it all burn away. I've seen too much destruction to let chaos take over. I won't let you tear everything apart, Loki. Not this time. Loki's eyes flash, a flicker of something, anger perhaps, or sorrow flickering within them. For a moment, the two gods simply stare at one another. The storm still raging, the tension so thick it's almost unbearable. But then Loki speaks again, this time more softly, almost as if the words are for himself as much as they are for Thor. You still don't understand, do you? Loki whispers. This world, this battle, this entire existence, it's all just a game. A game that we're all stuck playing, no matter how hard we fight against it. And the worst part, no matter how much you fight, no matter how much you win, it's always going to end the same. The world will burn. The gods will fall, and nothing you do will stop it. Thor's eyes narrow, his jaw clenched. Then I'll fight until the end. I'll fight until there's nothing left to fight for. Because that's what we do, Loki. That's what we've always done. We fight, no matter the cost. Loki's smile widens, though it's a smile full of bitterness and something darker. We fight, Thor. But do you really think the fighting ever ends? Do you really think there's a victory in all of this? Maybe you're right. But you're forgetting one thing, brother. Thor raises an eyebrow, his hand tightening around Mjolnir, ready for whatever trick Loki is about to pull. What's that? Loki steps closer, his voice a whisper in the storm. The battle may be yours, but the war belongs to the chaos, and I am the chaos. In that moment, something shifts in Thor's heart. For the first time, he realizes that this isn't just about strength. It's about something deeper, something far more complex than he's ever understood. Loki has always been more than a trickster. He is the embodiment of a force that Thor can't control, can't defeat, because it's not just a force in the world, it's a force inside of him. Loki takes a step back, watching Thor with amusement, as if waiting for him to process the weight of his words. The storm howls around them, and for a moment, you feel like everything is standing on the edge of something monumental. The end of the world, Ragnarok, it's all coming. But how will it come, and what role will Thor play in it? As Thor stands there, unsure of what to do next, you feel the tension of the moment pulse in the air. It's a battle of not just gods, but of ideologies. And with every passing second, the storm feels closer, more inevitable. The world around you trembles, the ground vibrating with every word spoken, every breath taken between Thor and Loki. The storm that surrounds them is no longer just a backdrop to their conflict, it's part of the battle itself, reflecting the chaos and power swirling between them. Thor stands tall, the weight of Mjolnir in his hand, but you can see it in his eyes. The burden of this moment, the uncertainty gnawing at him. Loki, the trickster, the god of chaos, has always been a wild card in the cosmos. His presence has disrupted everything, the balance of the gods, the fate of the world. And now, as he stands before Thor, there's something almost pitiful about him. His words, though full of venom and mockery, seem to carry the weight of something deeper, longing, a regret, or perhaps a truth that even Loki doesn't fully understand. The thunder cracks again, a roar that echoes in the distance, but it feels distant now. The storm, which was once a chaotic force of nature, now feels like a mere whisper, a quiet presence in the background of something far more intimate. The battle between Thor and Loki has transcended the physical realm. It's now a battle of ideologies, of wills. Thor fights for order, for stability, for the survival of everything he's known. Loki fights for chaos, for freedom from the chains of fate. Even if it means bringing about the world's destruction, historians still argue whether Loki's true goal is chaos for chaos's sake, or whether he seeks something more, a twisted form of redemption. Some believe Loki's actions are driven by envy, his jealousy of Thor's place among the gods. Others think he is merely a reflection of the very forces that govern the universe, the chaos that gives birth to creation and destruction alike. But in this moment, it's clear that Loki's motivations are as murky as ever. His gaze, though filled with malice, also carries a strange, almost melancholy depth. As he looks at Thor, you realize that there's no simple answer to their conflict. It's not just about good versus evil, order versus chaos. It's about something deeper, something older. This is a battle between brothers, yes, but it's also a battle between the very forces that shape the universe itself. Thor, despite the venom burning through his veins, despite the exhaustion weighing down on him, refuses to back down. He's faced so many challenges in his life, and yet nothing feels as personal as this. Loki's betrayal, his endless manipulation of the gods, it's all come to this moment. Thor wants to believe that they can still stand together, that they can fight side by side as they once did. But Loki's words, his actions, have made it clear that that's no longer possible. Loki's eyes glint as he watches Thor, reading him as easily as a book. You're so predictable, Thor, always so certain of yourself, always so sure that your way is the right way. He steps closer, his voice softer now, almost conspiratorial. But that's the problem, brother. You can't see the bigger picture. You can't see that the world isn't meant to stay as it is. It's not meant to be saved. It's meant to end. Thor takes a deep breath, feeling the weight of Loki's words press down on him. He doesn't want to believe it. He refuses to believe it. The gods have always fought for something, haven't they? They fought for balance, for order, for the survival of Midgard, for the future of the realms. And yet, standing here before Loki, Thor realizes that perhaps it's all been in vain. Maybe the end has always been coming, and maybe it's not about whether he can stop, it's about how long he can delay it. You think I don't understand, Loki? Thor's voice is strained, but there's a fire in it still. I've seen the prophecies. I know that Ragnarok is coming, but I will fight until the end. I will protect everything, even if it means giving everything I have. Loki's face twists with something between amusement and disdain. Fight all you want, Thor. It's never going to be enough. You can't fight fate. You can't fight what's coming. You can't stop Ragnarok. And even if you win today, even if you win this little battle, you'll never win the war. The tension between them hangs in the air, thick and suffocating, as the storm rages on. The sound of thunder, of crashing waves, of wind whipping through the trees, all of it seems to fade into the background as you focus solely on the two gods standing there, locked in this deadly standoff. The fate of the world, the fate of the gods, and the future of everything lie in the balance between them. Thor's body aches, the venom slowly creeping through his veins, but his resolve is unshaken. I don't care if it's enough, Loki. I don't care if I can stop Ragnarok. What matters is that I try. What matters is that I fight for those who can't fight for themselves. Loki's eyes narrow. For a moment, there's something almost like a flicker of respect in them, but it's gone in an instant. You're a fool, Thor. A noble fool, but a fool nonetheless. There's a long pause, and for a moment, it feels like the entire world is holding its breath. Then, without another word, Loki turns on his heel, disappearing into the storm, his figure swallowed by the darkness. Thor stands there, his chest heaving, watching as his brother fades into the distance. The battle is far from over, but for now, the storm subsides. The tension in the air doesn't dissipate. It lingers, an ever-present reminder that the end is coming. No matter how hard Thor fights, no matter how much he defies fate, it's clear now that the war is not just against Loki, or the Serpent, or even the forces of chaos. It's against time itself. Ragnarok is coming, and with it, everything Thor has fought for may be lost. But even in the face of this inevitable doom, Thor knows one thing for certain. He will never stop fighting. The storm is still, but the tension in the air remains thick, suffocating. Thor stands there, Mjolnir in hand, watching the spot where Loki vanished into the darkness, his heart heavy with the weight of his brother's words. The venom still courses through his body, a slow and steady reminder of the fight he won, but also of the death that awaits him. Even in this brief moment of respite, the sense of inevitability looms large. It's as if fate itself is watching, waiting for the final curtain to fall. For a long while, Thor doesn't move. His mind races, trying to make sense of what just transpired. Loki's words echo in his mind, and he can't shake the feeling that they were more than just taunts. There's truth in them, a bitter truth that cuts deeper than any blade. The gods. And as Thor stands there, the weight of it all presses down on him. He's always fought for order, for the survival of the realms, but now he wonders if it's all been for nothing. Can one god truly change the course of fate? Can one victory really stave off the inevitable? But as these thoughts swirl in his mind, something stirs deep within him, something that refuses to let go. It's that same fire, that unshakable will to protect, to fight, to stand against the darkness. Thor's resolve may be weakened, but it is not broken. He knows what's at stake. He knows that the end is coming. But that doesn't mean he has to stand idly by and let it happen. The gods may not be invincible, but that doesn't mean they don't have a part to play in the shaping of their own destiny. The wind shifts, a cold breeze sweeping over the battlefield. Thor's eyes narrow as he takes a step forward, his body aching with each movement, but his heart steady. The battle isn't over, not yet. Loki may have disappeared into the storm, but the storm isn't finished with him either. Thor knows that this isn't the end of their struggle. It's only the beginning. Loki's words may have unsettled him, but they've also lit a fire within him. If fate is written, then Thor will carve his own path through it. No matter the cost, the sky above begins to darken once more, the clouds swirling as if in response to the gods' turmoil. Thunder rumbles in the distance, but it's not just the storm this time. It's the sound of something far greater, a sign that the forces of chaos are still at work. The ground beneath Thor's feet shifts, and he feels the tremors of something approaching. This is no longer just a battle for survival. It's a battle for the very soul of the world. Ragnarok is coming. There's no denying that now. The signs are everywhere. The winds are changing. The gods have long known that the end of days would come, but now it feels more real than ever. Thor knows that his role in this story is not just to fight for the survival of the gods, but for the survival of the very world itself. The Midgard Serpent may be dead, but its death was only a single moment in a much larger and much more dangerous story. Thor turns away from the spot where Loki disappeared, his mind focused, his heart unwavering. The path ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear: he must face whatever comes next. If he's to survive, if the gods are to survive, he must keep fighting. No matter how much the storm presses against him, no matter how much the darkness threatens to swallow him whole. Historians, scholars, and seers have all predicted the events that would unfold. Some say the gods are destined to fall. Others believe there's still hope for salvation. But in this moment, Thor realizes that it's not the prophecy that matters. It's the will to fight, to stand firm in the face of overwhelming odds, that defines the gods. Prophecies may tell of the end, but they don't dictate how it happens. They don't dictate how the gods choose to meet their fate. As Thor stands there, Mjolnir in hand, a new sense of purpose fills him. He's not just a warrior of thunder. He's a god who will fight until the very end, until the last breath. He will stand against whatever darkness comes, whether it's Loki, the serpent, or the forces of chaos that lurk in the shadows, because that's what gods do, they fight. And if fate has already decided his end, then so be it. He will go down fighting. The winds howl once more, a reminder that the battle isn't over. It's only just begun. But Thor, despite the poison slowly killing him, despite the overwhelming weight of the prophecy that looms over him, is ready. because he knows that no matter what happens, the gods will fight to the very end. And even if it's just one last stand, he will make it count, with a final, determined glance at the storm. Thor steps forward, the path ahead uncertain, but his resolve unshaken. The world may burn, the gods may fall, but Thor will fight, and he will fight until there is nothing left to fight for. Thor strides forward, his every step an echo of his determination. The venom coursing through his body feels like fire burning, relentless, but even as it claws at him, there's something in his heart that refuses to yield. Mjolnir swings. By his side, its weight both familiar and heavy, as if it too understands the burden Thor bears. The storm rages around him, but it feels less like a battle with the elements now, and more like a reflection of the war within him. The forces of nature and chaos, both in the world and in his soul, are pushing him toward something far darker than he's ever faced. The battle with Jörmungandr may have been brutal, but it was just the beginning. Ragnarok is the endgame, the cataclysm that has been prophesied for eons, and Thor knows that it's inevitable. But does that mean he should simply give in? Should the gods, the protectors of the realms, simply resign themselves to the destruction of everything they hold dear? No, Thor will not let it come to that. He will fight with every last ounce of strength he has left. And yet, the poison gnaws at him, sapping his strength with each passing second. He can feel it deep in his bones, spreading from the wound where Jörmungandr's fangs pierced him. Every step he takes is heavier than the last, and his once unyielding resolve begins to falter. But just as quickly as doubt enters his mind, it's pushed away by the fire in his heart. He will not die this way, not in vain. Not while there's still a chance to stop what's coming. The horizon remains dark, the storm above, as furious as ever. But through the clouds, there's a faint glimmer of light, a reminder that, even in the darkest times, there is still a chance for something better. Thor looks to the skies, his thoughts turning inward. In all his years of fighting, of defending Asgard and Midgard, he's never questioned his purpose. But now, with the weight of prophecy and fate bearing down on him, he's forced to confront something deeper. His own fear that all his strength, all his victories, may not be enough to save the world. Fear that this is the end, not just for him, but for everything he's ever known. But that's not who Thor is. Thor is the god of thunder. He is the protector of the realms, the defender of Midgard, and he will not go down quietly. He will not be the one who allows Ragnarok to consume the world, not while there's breath in his lungs, not while there's still a chance to fight. And so, he presses on, even as the poison spreads, even as his body weakens. Each step is a battle against the inevitable, each breath a defiance of fate itself. The gods have always fought, always stood against the forces of chaos, no matter how hopeless the odds. And Thor will do the same, because even in the face of certain destruction, the gods must stand. The gods must fight. There's no turning back now. Thor knows that the end is coming, but what he doesn't know, what he can't know, is whether he can alter the course of fate. The world is on the precipice of destruction, and every choice Thor makes now will determine whether the gods live or die, whether the realms fall or stand. The weight of that decision is not something Thor takes lightly. As he moves through the storm, he feels something stir within him, a spark, a flicker of the fire that has always defined him. It's a reminder of what he fights for: the people of Midgard, the gods of Asgard, the future of the realms. This is what matters. This is why he fights. Not because he is invincible, but because he refuses to let the darkness swallow the light. Not because he believes he can defeat fate, but because he refuses to accept it. Thor's footsteps echo in the growing silence of the battlefield, his heart pounding in his chest, his breath labored but steady. The venom continues its slow, methodical work, but Thor's resolve only hardens. As he approaches the heart of the storm, he can feel the weight of everything pressing down on him. He is the last line of defense, the final protector standing against the chaos that threatens to consume everything. As the wind howls and the sky darkens further, Thor raises Mjolnir high above his head, calling upon the full power of the storm. Lightning crackles around him, a brilliant flash of divine energy that seems to burn away the darkness, if only for a moment. The hammer hums with power, its presence a reminder of the strength that lies within him. Thor is not just the god of thunder, he is the god of defiance. He is the god of perseverance, and he will fight until the very end, with a final, resounding shout. Thor plunges forward, the full force of Mjolnir crashing down upon the earth beneath him. The storm intensifies, the thunder deafening. But Thor doesn't stop. He doesn't waver. He can feel the poison coursing through his veins, but it doesn't matter. In this moment, he is more than just a god of thunder. He is the embodiment of resistance, of survival, of the refusal to bow to fate. And though the storm may be coming, though Ragnarok may be inevitable, Thor knows this. The gods will never surrender, not while they still have the strength to fight. The earth trembles beneath Thor's feet as he stands in the heart of the storm, the winds howling around him like a chorus of ancient spirits, each gust an omen of the coming destruction. But Thor stands firm, his figure a beacon of defiance against the encroaching darkness. Mjolnir crackles in his grip, its divine energy pulsing through his arm. Each thunderous crack of lightning that erupts from the sky a symbol of the fury and strength that courses through him. But even as the storm rages, and the power of his hammer surges through him, Thor can feel the weight of his own mortality pressing down on him. The venom from Jörmungandr's bite continues to spread, its burning poison slowly draining him of his strength, of his will. It's as if every step, every swing of his hammer, is costing him more than he can give. Yet, despite the overwhelming sense of exhaustion, Thor refuses to stop. He won't give up. He won't surrender. Not now. Not when everything is on the line. Historians still argue over the nature of a god's strength. Is it the physical might they wield? The magic in their veins? Or is it something else? Perhaps it's the heart of the god, the sheer force of will that drives them, even in the face of certain death. For Thor, his strength has always been more than just his ability to swing a hammer. It's his unyielding resolve, his refusal to let the world slip into chaos. And now, standing in the heart of Ragnarok, he understands that it's that very strength that will define the god's legacy. Ragnarok, the end of days, is not just an event, it's a reckoning, a judgment that the gods and mortals alike must face. It's a test of everything they've stood for, of everything they've fought to protect. And in this moment, Thor realizes that it's not about whether he survives, but whether the ideals he's fought for, courage, strength, survive. If the gods fall today, they will not fall in vain. They will fall fighting. And in that fight, there will be a spark of hope that lingers. A reminder that even in the face of the inevitable, the gods fought until their last breath. The winds howl around Thor as he raises Mjolnir once more, a gesture of defiance, a proclamation of war against the forces that seek to destroy the world. With each strike, the storm grows fiercer, the thunder louder, the lightning more intense. His body aches, his vision blurs, and the poison continues its slow crawl through his veins. But none of it matters. Nothing matters but this fight. Nothing matters but this moment. Loki's words still linger in the back of Thor's mind, and for a fleeting second, doubt creeps in. Is this all for nothing? Is there truly no way to stop Ragnarok? The gods have always been bound by fate, bound to the prophecy that foretold their demise. But in that moment of doubt, Thor remembers something crucial. The gods may be bound by fate, but it's their will that shapes how they meet it. And Thor will not meet his fate quietly. He will meet it with Mjolnir raised high, with his heart filled with defiance, with the roar of thunder behind him. The storm rages, with a fury that matches his own. And as Thor stands there, facing the wrath of the world and the venom that eats away at him, he realizes something. His battle was never just against Jörmungandr. It was never just against Loki. It was never just against the forces of chaos. It was a battle for everything he holds dear. It was a battle for the future, for the survival of the realms, for the very essence of existence itself. Ragnarok may be inevitable, but Thor will not face it in despair. He will face it as he always has, by fighting with every ounce of his strength, with every beat of his heart, with every strike of his hammer. And if he falls in the process, if the venom finally claims him, then at least he will have fought until the end. The thunder continues to rumble, louder now, shaking the very foundations of the earth. The skies open up, the winds intensifying as if the world itself is preparing for what's to come. But Thor stands tall, his eyes locked on the horizon, ready to face whatever comes next. The world may be on the brink of destruction, but Thor will not let it fall without a fight. And as the storm rages around him, you realize that it's not just Thor who fights. It's the gods, the mortals, the forces of light and dark. They all fight together in the battle that will determine the future of everything. Ragnarok is not just the end, it's a beginning. It's the dawn of a new age, where the gods and the mortals must find a way to live in a world forever changed by their struggles. Thor may not know what the future holds, but he knows one thing for certain. The fight is not over. Not yet. And he will continue to fight, no matter what it costs him. The wind howls, the storm rages around Thor like a living beast, and yet, amidst the chaos, there is a calm within him, a quiet resolve that anchors him even as the poison continues its steady, insidious march through his body. The venom might weaken him, but it cannot break his spirit. No, that spirit remains as unyielding as the hammer in his hand, as unbreakable as the very heavens that Thor commands with every strike of Mjolnir. The thunder cracks again, louder this time, and Thor feels the surge of energy radiate through him. The storm answers his call, as if acknowledging his strength, his refusal to be defeated. The battle is far from over, but Thor knows that, no matter what happens, this moment will define him, just as it will define all the gods. The world is on the brink of destruction, but in this single moment, Thor feels a surge of purpose. It's as if everything he's ever done, every battle fought, every life saved, has led him to this one crucial point. This is where he will make his stand. This is where he will meet his fate. His heart pounds in his chest, the venom spreading, his strength waning. But in that brief moment of clarity, Thor knows that the true measure of his strength has never been in his physical power. It's been in his will. The gods have always known that their fates are intertwined with the forces of the universe. But Thor has also known something else. It's not fate that defines a god. It's their choices. And no matter how inevitable Ragnarok may seem, Thor refuses to let it unfold without a fight. He swings Mjolnir once more, the hammer connecting with the air, releasing a bolt of lightning so fierce that the heavens themselves seem to tremble. The earth below shakes with the force of it, but the storm, as violent as it is, does not relent. It is a reflection of the chaos inside Thor, a battle within himself as much as the battle outside. His strength is failing, but his spirit does not waver. Every strike is a declaration, a testament to his resolve, to the god's eternal struggle against the inevitable. For a moment, everything falls silent. The storm calms, the winds die down, and Thor is left standing alone in the center of the battlefield. The storm may have quieted, but the silence is deafening. This is it, the calm before the storm's final act, the last stand before the end of everything. And yet Thor is not afraid. He doesn't fear death. He doesn't fear what's to come. He knows that the world is changing, and that change is inevitable. Ragnarok may be upon them, but Thor stands as a symbol of defiance, a reminder that even in the face of the end, there is strength in standing against it. He may fall, yes, the gods may fall, but in this moment they stand, and in this moment they fight. Thor's mind drifts briefly to his comrades, to his fellow gods Odin, Freya, and the others. The gods of Asgard have always stood together, but now, in this final hour, Thor realizes something. They are all part of the same struggle, bound together by a shared fate. Whether they live or die, their legacy will endure. It will endure because they fought, because they refused to go quietly into the darkness. Loki's words still echo in his mind, but Thor pushes them aside. The trickster, the master of chaos, has always been the thorn in the side of the gods. But in the end, it's not Loki's chaos that defines Thor. It's his determination, his loyalty, his refusal to let the world fall into darkness without a fight. And if the end is inevitable, if the fall of the gods is the price they must pay, then so be it. But Thor will not go quietly. He will not fall without making his mark. The storm intensifies once more, the winds whipping around Thor with a ferocity that seems to match the rising tide of his own inner strength. His body aches, the venom consuming him, but he knows that he cannot stop. Not now, not when the world depends on him. The distant thunder rolls again, but this time it feels different. It feels like the sound of the universe itself, calling out to the gods to take their place in the final act of this cosmic drama. Thor's pulse quickens, the adrenaline surging through his veins, and for a moment, the poison in his body fades into the background. There is only the battle, only the storm, and only his will to fight. And then, from the edge of the horizon, he sees it. The first signs of the armies of chaos, the forces that have been summoned to bring about the final destruction. He can see them rising from the dark clouds, a shadow that stretches across the land. This is it. Ragnarok is not a distant event. It is here. It is now. Thor raises Mjolnir high once more, the hammer gleaming with a light that cuts through the darkness. The storm rages around him, but Thor is a beacon of defiance in the heart of it. He stands alone, but he stands as a god, as a warrior, as the protector of Midgard. And in this final moment, Thor knows that it is not the end that defines him, it is the fight. The gods may fall, the world may end, but Thor will fight, and his legacy, his will endure beyond the storm. The earth trembles again, and this time, it feels like the entire world is quaking, as if every part of existence is reacting to the oncoming storm. The sky cracks with thunder, and the heavens themselves seem to scream in rage. But Thor stands, unwavering in the heart of it, his body weakened by the venom, but still burning with the fire of defiance. Mjolnir pulses with raw power in his hand, its weight grounding him, its energy unrelenting. The battle has reached its apex, and there is no turning back. The storm intensifies once more, lightning tearing through the sky, casting everything in an eerie glow. It feels like the very air is alive with tension, each strike of thunder a reminder that the forces of chaos are nearing, just beyond the horizon. Thor doesn't need to see them to know they're coming. He can feel their presence, their dark energy swirling in the distance, growing closer with every passing moment. This is it, the final reckoning. Thor's vision swims, the poison slowly taking its toll, but his grip on Mjolnir never wavers. His heart beats steadily in his chest, despite the weight of his body, despite the weariness that is settling in. He knows the end is inevitable. He knows what the prophecy foretold, that he will fall by the serpent's venom, and that the gods will meet their doom in the fires of Ragnarok. But in this moment, none of that matters. He will not go down quietly. He will face the end with the same courage and defiance that has defined him his entire life. Historians still debate whether Thor knew he was doomed all along, whether he understood that his victory over Jörmungandr was just a brief spark before the darkness claimed him. Some say that Thor fought not for his own survival, but for the survival of the world, for the hope that maybe, just maybe, his actions would inspire the gods to keep fighting. Others argue that Thor's fight was one of pride, his belief that he could stop the inevitable, that he could change the course of fate with sheer will alone. But whatever the reason, one thing is certain. Thor's courage has never been in question. The sky rips open with another thunderclap. But Thor stands as a solitary figure in the storm, a god who has fought for everything he believes in. He is no longer just the god of thunder. He is the embodiment of resistance, of the refusal to surrender to the darkness. And though the end may be closing in on him, he will face it with his head held high. As the armies of chaos approach, Thor feels the weight of everything pressing down on him, the gods, the mortals, the very world itself. He knows what's coming. The forces of destruction are upon them. The final wave of the battle. It's not just the serpent that he's fought, but an entire world that's coming apart at the seams. The gods may fall, but Thor refuses to let them go down without a fight. A shadow looms over the battlefield now. The armies of chaos marching closer, their presence a dark cloud on the horizon. Their numbers are vast, their power immense. But Thor doesn't hesitate. He raises Mjolnir one final time, calling upon the storm to unleash its full fury. The lightning crackles, the thunder roars, and the earth beneath him shakes as he prepares. For the final clash, Thor's breath is labored, his body aching, but his mind is clear. He will not go quietly. He will not let the end of the world come without a fight. With one final roar, Thor charges toward the armies of chaos, Mjolnir crackling with divine power. The storm swirls around him, a tempest of fury, and for one brief, glorious moment, he is a god again, a god who defies fate itself. As Thor charges forward, the ground beneath him shudders. The armies of chaos draw near, their dark forces converging in a mass of shadows and destruction. The final battle is upon them. Thor knows that he may not survive this moment, that this fight may be his last. But it doesn't matter. It never has. The gods may fall, the world may end, but Thor will go down fighting. He swings Mjolnir with all the strength he can muster. And the thunder that erupts from the hammer is so powerful that it sends a shockwave through the battlefield. The forces of chaos stagger, their ranks disrupted by the sheer force of Thor's blow. But they are relentless. They surge forward again, undeterred. Their power a dark tide that threatens to swallow everything. Thor's vision blurs as the venom continues to ravage his body. But his resolve remains. With every swing of Mjolnir, he fights back against the darkness, against the tide of destruction that seeks to overwhelm him. The thunder cracks, the lightning strikes, and for a moment, it feels as if the very universe itself is watching, waiting for the final act to unfold. And then, as Thor faces the overwhelming tide of chaos, a voice breaks through the voice, distant but clear, echoing across the battlefield. Do you truly think you can fight fate, Thor? Loki sneers, his voice filled with mocking amusement. You can't stop what's coming. You can't defeat the end. Thor grits his teeth, his eyes blazing with defiance. I don't fight for the end, Loki. I fight for the world. I fight for everything that's worth saving. With that, Thor plunges into the fray. Mjolnir swinging, the storm howling around him, and the end of the world looming ever closer. The battle has reached its climax, and though the outcome is uncertain, Thor will fight until the very last moment. The thunder continues to roar, the lightning continues to crackle, and the storm continues to rage. And in the heart of it all, Thor stands, unwavering, the last line of defense against the chaos that seeks to destroy everything. As the dust settles and the echoes of battle fade into a haunting silence, you feel it a deep, almost suffocating quiet, as if the world itself has paused to catch its breath. The storm rages on in the distance, its fury dimming, its roar fading into the background of what now feels like a long, quiet night. Thor stands, battered and weary, his mighty hammer, Mjolnir, still clenched tightly in his hand, but his strength is fading. The venom has done its work, and the god of thunder, the protector of realms, is now a shadow of his former self. The storm may have subsided, but the weight of what has passed, and what is yet to come, still lingers in the air. The gods may be defeated, and the world may be nearing its end, but there is something deeply human about Thor in this moment. His fight, his defiance, these were not just the actions of a god, they were the actions of a being who refused to accept the inevitable, who fought for everything he believed in, even when the odds were impossible. Ragnarok has come, as it always would, and though the gods fought valiantly, their fate was sealed, but the legacy of their struggle, their courage in the face of inevitable destruction, will live on. Thor, despite everything, despite the venom, the prophecy, the battle has left his mark. Even in the face of his own end, Thor stood tall, and in doing so, he defied fate itself. The world may crumble around him, but Thor's fight was never for victory in the conventional sense. It was for the preservation of hope, the continuation of the fight. He fought not just for the gods, but for all who would come after, and in that, his victory is complete. As the storm fades into the distance, you feel a shift in the air. The winds are softer now, carrying with them the scent of rain and the distant sound of waves crashing against the shore. The world is quiet, peaceful, but there's a heavy sorrow in the stillness. It's as though the universe itself is mourning, the loss of something greater, something that once seemed invincible, but now, in the wake of battle, is forever changed. And yet, in this moment, there is peace. Not the peace of victory, but the peace of acceptance. The storm has passed, the end has come, and though the world may be forever altered by what transpired, the spirit of defiance, of resistance, will always remain. Now, as the darkness settles, you feel the tension lift, and the weight on your chest begins to ease. The world is quiet once more. The storm calmed, the chaos settled. The battle is over, but the legacy of the gods, of Thor's final stand, will echo through time, forever remembered. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you drift off, remember this: even in the face of destruction, the fight will always live on in those who stand for something greater.